And there's you in the red.
Yeah.
When Kidus, who's from Eritrea, crossed the channel in this small boat back in June 2022, the UK government had already announced plans to send migrants to Rwanda. But he says one of the people traffickers told him not to worry.
The smuggler, they say no, that they are always, like this, so no problem, they said.
The smuggler said it wouldn't happen to you?
Yeah.
Is the UK government finally taking action? The UK has started deporting care workers from India and African countries. Welcome to our channel, and today we're addressing a significant issue. Many care workers are being required to leave the UK, which is deeply troubling. In a surprising development, more than 3,000 individuals from India and Africa are facing deportation. According to a statement from the UK Home Office, the government is acting swiftly. It has been disclosed that these individuals were provided with fake licences by certain agencies that have since been closed down by the Home Office. If you find this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with others who may benefit. To my returning viewers, thank you for your ongoing support. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more updates on life in the UK and other important news. Let's begin.
Mr. Speaker, I said enough is enough, and I mean it. And that means I am prepared to do what must be done. So early next year, we will introduce new legislation to make unambiguously clear that if you enter the UK illegally, you should not be able to remain here. Instead, you will be detained and swiftly returned either to your home country or to a safe country where your asylum claim will be considered. And you will no longer be able to frustrate removal attempts with late or spurious claims or appeals. And once removed, you should have no right to re-entry, settlement or citizenship.
The government has announced that over 3,000 migrants from India and Africa purchased sponsorship certificates and entered the UK without meeting the required qualifications. So why are they facing deportation? In today's video, we'll delve into the recent news impacting more than 3,000 care workers from India and Africa, who now risk deportation following the revocation of their licences. It's unfortunate that many care workers are now under threat of deportation, affecting thousands of individuals. This situation is particularly dire as it has placed many in challenging and unclear circumstances. Some of these workers took loans or sold their assets to relocate to the UK with their families. Now they are receiving notices from the Home Office, giving them 60 days to secure new employment or leave the country. Finding new jobs in the current climate has proven to be extremely difficult. Some have already departed the UK, while others have only a few days or weeks left before their 60-day deadline expires. Let's delve into this. A group of migrant care workers, primarily from India and Africa, arrived in the UK to fill gaps in the care sector post-COVID. But here's the twist. Some individuals exploited the system, leading to serious allegations of modern slavery. So what was the government's response? They significantly tightened regulations. As a result, many agencies that brought these workers lost their sponsorship privileges. Here's the kicker. The Home Office discovered that some of these agencies were outright fraudulent. Can you believe it? People created bogus agencies and conducted business without the Home Office's knowledge. Due to understaffing, the Home Office couldn't thoroughly vet them. And here's another shocker. Most of these illegitimate agencies are owned by Nigerians and Indians who already have settled status in the UK. They use this status to bring their family members over. Here's the gist. Due to their licenses being revoked, these agencies had their certificates of sponsorship for their employees, mainly Indians and Africans, also revoked by the Home Office. Now here's where it gets complicated. Those who were qualified managed to land jobs at different companies. The Home Office then gave them up to 60 days to find new sponsors as they acknowledged their role in this mess.
Earlier this month, one of his Eritrean friends who came in the same small boat was detained when he went to a routine appointment at a Home Office building in Liverpool.
So that's your friend that's been detained?
Yeah.
Nahom tells us he's now in a detention centre near Gatwick Airport.
It's like a nightmare. It's like a prison, and I don't like it here. I'm really stressed and panicked about the situation.
He says he's feeling increasingly desperate at the prospect of being sent to Rwanda.
They can send my body, but not me alive.
Really? That's how you feel?
Yeah. I'm just giving up.
Kudus had already received his own warning letter, but his friend's detention has left him so afraid he can't decide whether to keep going to his appointments with the Home Office or stop showing up.
If I go, I know they will detain me. So I'm just confused what I'm going to do.
Exposed, thousands of migrant care workers, innocent and abandoned, ordered to leave the UK. Despite having done nothing wrong, these workers faced deportation after their employers were targeted by the Home Office. In one instance, a brother and sister from India paid £8,000 to a recruitment agency to secure care jobs in the UK, only to realise they had been scammed. They were instructed to find another company to sponsor them within 60 days or leave the country. Can you believe it? After investing all that money, many of these individuals didn't even have that kind of money to start with. They had to borrow, take loans from banks or family, and even sell off personal belongings just to make ends meet. And for what? To secure a job and relocate their families, only to face such a dire situation in the UK. It's just unjust. Contractor Zainab, 22, and her brother Ismail, 25, had borrowed money from relatives to cover the expenses of relocating to the UK. However, upon arrival, the promised accommodation fell through and they were not offered any work shifts. They found themselves without jobs and are now facing deportation from the UK within just 60 days. Adding to their challenges, they are struggling to find another sponsor. It's a difficult situation indeed. In April, they learned that the company that had sponsored their visas had lost its authorisation to hire foreign workers following enforcement action by the Home Office. Unfortunately, this action also affected them negatively. The siblings received a letter stating that their sponsorship tied to the sanctioned company was now null and void. Essentially, without a valid licence, they cannot continue to sponsor them. It's straightforward logic, so their sponsorship is effectively invalidated. Tough luck. Since then, they've applied to over 300 different employers between them, hoping to find another company willing to sponsor them. However, as is often the case, they haven't been able to find any willing to take them on. Speaking with someone affected by this situation would quickly reveal just how challenging it has been. Finding new jobs, especially ones with sponsorship, has been a significant challenge. Now picture thousands of people facing the same situation. How many of them will actually manage to secure employment within this tight time frame? Only a few, if any. Believe me, it's not simple. It's exceedingly difficult. Consider this. You inform all your friends, family and relatives that you're leaving your job or closing your business back home. Maybe things were going okay, just enough to get by, but you take a leap of faith to relocate to the UK for work, only to discover no job opportunities awaiting you. Now there's the looming possibility of having to return home in just 60 days. It's a tough position to be in, undoubtedly. Zainab, who moved from Maharashtra in India to create a better life for her 2-year-old son, said they now faced returning home with debts they couldn't repay unless they find another sponsor by June. We don't know how we will survive, she said. Ismail, who left his job as an investment analyst to come to the UK, said, "It's not fair. We are being thrown out without being heard." Their case isn't unique. An investigation by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism and The Observer found that 3,081 care workers had their sponsorship certificates cancelled by the Home Office in 2022 and 2023. In 94% of cases, the reason for the cancellation was that the hiring company lost its right to sponsor workers. With all the new rules and policy changes, it's become extremely difficult to find another job. Many companies or employers aren't willing to increase the salary threshold for a skilled worker visa or even consider hiring for care worker positions. It's a dire situation for these care workers, caught in a bureaucratic whirlwind not of their making. The fallout from the Home Office's crackdown on fraudulent agencies has left them stranded, facing uncertain futures and mounting debts. For many, the dream of a better life in the UK has turned into a nightmare of legal complexities and financial ruin. The stories of Zainab and Ismail resonate deeply with thousands of others who find themselves in similar predicaments. They are not alone in their struggle to secure new sponsorship or even to comprehend the abruptness of their impending departure from a country they had hoped would offer stability and opportunity. These are individuals who took risks, often at great personal cost, only to be let down by systemic failures and exploitation. The scale of the issue is staggering. Over 3,000 care workers affected by the revocation of their sponsorship certificates due to the malpractice of their employers' agencies. Many of these agencies operated under false pretenses, exploiting loopholes in the immigration system for personal gain. The repercussions have been devastating, not only for the workers, but also for their families who uprooted their lives in pursuit of a better future. In the aftermath of the scandal, the Home Office has been scrambling to mitigate the damage, offering minimal support and limited avenues for recourse. The 60-day window provided to find new sponsors is a daunting challenge for those already grappling with uncertainty and financial strain. Despite efforts to apply for new positions, the overwhelming majority have been met with rejection, exacerbating feelings of helplessness and despair. Moreover, the cultural and social impact cannot be understated. These care workers contribute not only economically, but also socially to their communities. They provide essential services, often in demanding and underappreciated roles, caring for the elderly and vulnerable. Their abrupt removal threatens to disrupt the continuity of care and support networks that have become reliant on their dedication and expertise. The broader implications of these deportations extend beyond individual hardship. They highlight systemic flaws in immigration policies and expose vulnerabilities within the regulatory framework meant to safeguard migrant workers. The exploitation by unscrupulous agencies underscores the need for stricter oversight and more robust protections for those seeking employment opportunities abroad. As the story unfolds, there are calls for reform and accountability. Advocacy groups, legal experts, and affected individuals are demanding transparency and fairness in the handling of deportation cases. There is a growing consensus that punitive measures should target the perpetrators of fraud and exploitation rather than penalising innocent workers who were unwitting victims of deceit. At its core, this crisis is a stark reminder of the human cost of policy failures and regulatory oversights. It challenges notions of justice and equity within immigration systems designed to balance national interests with humanitarian considerations. The plight of these care workers underscores the need for compassionate responses and proactive measures to prevent similar injustices in the future.
The parties have been talking about immigration, but what does the public think? Well, an exclusive poll for Sky News has found that across the country, 43% of people asked thought that immigration has a negative impact on British society. That's compared to 35% here who say it has a positive impact. So clear difference there. And there are also clear differences between age groups. 54% of 18 to 24-year-olds thinks that immigration has a positive effect. But the older you get, the lower this number comes down. When you get to 60...
In the face of adversity, there are glimmers of hope. Community support networks have mobilised to provide assistance and solidarity to those affected. Legal challenges are being mounted to contest deportation orders and seek redress for grievances. International scrutiny has prompted discussions on ethical recruitment practices and the responsibilities of host countries in safeguarding migrant rights. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to subscribe for more content like this.